Robert Wilson stood at the observation deck of Luna shipyards, his breath catching in his throat as he watched the massive frame of humanity's first stellar mass harvesting vessel take shape against the star-filled void. The ship, stretching over 20 kilometers in length, looked like a massive metallic whale, its hull gleaming under the harsh spotlights of construction drones. "Sir, the core containment tests are complete," said Anna Clark, his deputy engineer, walking up behind him with a tablet in her hands. "All readings are stable." Robert nodded, his eyes never leaving the massive construct. 6 years of work, countless sleepless nights, and more coffee than any human should drink had led to this moment. The Star Drinker, as the project had been dubbed by the media, was almost ready for its first test. "Any word from the aliens?" he asked, finally turning to face Anna. She shrugged, her work boots clanking against the metal floor as she shifted her weight. The Galactic Council sent another message. They're concerned about the scale of the project. Can't blame them. Nobody's ever built something designed to drink straight from a star before. The concept had seemed simple enough when Robert first proposed it. Build a ship large enough to harvest material directly from stars, using advanced gravitational manipulation to collect and process stellar matter for power. In theory, it would give humanity unlimited energy. In practice, it had turned into the biggest engineering project in human history. Down in the construction bay, a team of workers in spacesuits guided a massive power conduit into place. The ship's skeleton was mostly complete, its internal systems already humming with life. The outer hull plates were being attached one by one, each the size of a small town. "Director Stevens wants to see you," Anna said, checking her tablet again. Something about the alien ambassador's latest complaint. Robert sighed and straightened his jacket. "Tell him I'll be there in 10 minutes. I want to watch them install the main collector array." Just then, the entire shipyard shuddered. Alert klaxons began blaring, and red warning lights flashed throughout the observation deck. What was that? Robert grabbed the railing, steadying himself. Anna's fingers flew across her tablet. "Power spike in the main core. The containment field is fluctuating." Without waiting for more details, Robert ran for the elevator. The ride down to the engineering level felt like it took years, though it was only seconds. When the doors opened, chaos greeted him. Engineers rushed back and forth, shouting numbers and status reports. In the center of it all stood Fred Martinez, the core systems specialist, frantically working at a control panel. "Talk to me, Fred," Robert shouted, pushing his way through the crowd. "The core's magnetic bottle is destabilizing." Fred's fingers danced across the controls. "The test sequence triggered something we didn't expect. The gravitational fields are interacting in ways our simulations didn't predict." Robert pushed him aside and looked at the readings. The numbers told a story that made his blood run cold. If the containment field failed, the resulting explosion would take out half the moon. "Shut it down," someone shouted. "No," Robert's voice cut through the panic. "If we shut it down now, the backlash will tear the ship apart. We need to stabilize it first." He began typing commands into the console, his mind racing through calculations. "Anna, reroute power from sections 3 through 7 to the auxiliary containment grid. Fred, start a controlled pulse sequence through the secondary coils. We're going to use the ship's own gravitational systems to contain this." For 5 tense minutes, they worked in silence broken only by the sound of typing and the continuous wail of alarms. Slowly, the warning lights began to fade. The numbers on the screen stabilized, then settled into normal ranges. The entire engineering team let out a collective breath. "What happened?" Anna asked, wiping sweat from her forehead. Robert stared at the readouts, a slow smile spreading across his face. "We just discovered something new about gravity manipulation. The core didn't malfunction. It found a more efficient way to contain itself. The ship, it's learning." He looked up through the reinforced windows at the massive vessel above them. What they had built was more than just a power collection system. It was humanity's first step into a new era, a machine that could reshape gravity itself. "Send a message to Director Stevens," he said, still staring at the ship. "Tell him we're not just building an energy collector anymore. We're building something that will change everything." The Star Drinker loomed above them, its partially completed hull reflecting the light of the distant Earth. Soon, it would reach out to the stars themselves, and humanity would never be the same. Ambassador Susan Hayes watched the stars through the viewport of her diplomatic vessel, the Peace Bridge. After 6 months of successful operation, the Star Drinker project had caught the attention of every alien race in the sector. Her mission was simple: explain to the HFY that humanity's new technology wasn't a threat. "Ambassador, we're picking up multiple ships dropping out of FTL," called out Kevin Brown, her navigation officer. His voice held an edge of worry. Susan straightened her uniform. "HFY escorts, right on schedule." "No, Mom." Kevin's face paled. "These aren't diplomatic vessels. They're warships." 3 massive vessels appeared, their black hulls covered in sharp angles that made them look like floating crystal shards. Red energy rippled along their weapons ports. The HFY weren't here to talk. "Send an emergency signal to the Star Drinker," Susan ordered. "Tell them." The first shot cut through space, missing the Peace Bridge by meters. The deck shuddered under their feet. "They're charging weapons again." Kevin gripped his console. "Our shields won't handle a direct hit." Susan grabbed the ship's comm. "This is Ambassador Hayes. We are a diplomatic vessel. Stand down immediately." The only response was another volley of shots. This time, one clipped their engine housing. Warning alarms blared throughout the ship. "Engine 3 is gone," Kevin shouted. "We can't outrun them." Susan watched the HFY ships move into attack formation. After years of peaceful relations, why would they attack now? The answer hit her like a punch to the gut. They were afraid. Afraid of what humanity had built. "Ambassador," Kevin's voice cracked with excitement. "The Star Drinker just appeared on sensors. They're coming in fast." Through the viewport, Susan saw it. Humanity's greatest achievement, moving with impossible speed for something its size. The massive ship dwarfed even the HFY vessels, its silver hull gleaming in the starlight. Captain Mark Rogers' voice came through their comm. "Peace Bridge, this is Star Drinker. Hold position." The HFY ships turned their attention to the new arrival, energy weapons charging. Their shots, powerful enough to cripple most ships, splashed harmlessly against the Star Drinker's gravitational fields. "What are they doing?" Kevin asked, staring at his readings. "The Star Drinker's activating its collection systems, but there's no star nearby to harvest." Susan watched in awe as the massive ship's collectors opened like the petals of a metal flower. But instead of pointing at a star, they aimed at the space between the HFY ships. "Everyone hold on to something," Captain Rogers warned. The Star Drinker's systems hummed to life. Space itself seemed to bend. The HFY ships suddenly lurched, caught in an artificial gravity well that pulled them toward each other. "Impossible," Kevin whispered. "They're using the stellar collection system as a weapon." The alien ships fired their engines at full power, trying to break free. But the Star Drinker's grip was too strong. It held them in place like insects in amber. Captain Rogers' voice came through again, this time addressing the HFY. "Your ships are now under our control. Power down your weapons, or we will be forced to increase the gravitational pull." For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the red glow of the HFY weapon ports faded. "Ambassador," Rogers said, "I believe you have some negotiations to conduct." The HFY seemed much more interested in talking now. Susan nodded, even though Rogers couldn't see her. She understood what had just happened. The Star Drinker hadn't just saved their lives. It had shown the galaxy that humanity's reach now extended far beyond what anyone had imagined. "Open a channel to the HFY ships," she ordered, "and send word to Earth. Tell them." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Tell them that the diplomatic situation has evolved. The galaxy just learned that humanity's steel behemoths aren't just for drinking stars anymore. As she prepared for the most important diplomatic talk of her life, Susan couldn't help but smile. The HFY had tried to destroy what they feared. Instead, they had forced humanity to show just how powerful they had become. The Star Drinker hung in space, its massive form blocking out the stars, a silent reminder that humanity had changed the rules of the game forever. Fleet Admiral David Cooper stood in the massive control room deep inside Olympus Mons on Mars, watching dozens of screens showing construction progress. After the HFY incident, Earth's governments had agreed on one thing. They needed more ships like the Star Drinker. Linda Martinez reporting from Mars Shipyard 6, a voice called out. One screen showed Linda's face, tired but proud. Hull assembly is 50% complete on the Dawn Eater. Good work, David said. How's the new gravity core holding up? Linda smiled. Better than expected. The improvements Robert suggested are working perfectly. This ship will be twice as efficient as the Star Drinker. Another screen lit up, showing Brian Foster at the Europa facility. Ice clouds floated behind him in the massive underground chamber carved into the moon's frozen surface. Europa shipyard checking in. We've finished the main framework for the Star Seeker, but we have a problem. David frowned. What kind of problem? Resources, Brian said. We're running low on rare earth metals. The automated mining ships can't keep up with 3 ships under construction at once. David walked to the main display, bringing up a map of the solar system. Red dots marked their mining operations, green showed the shipyards, and blue indicated completed ships. Not enough red dots, too many green ones. What about the asteroid mining stations? He asked. Working at full capacity, Linda cut in. But I have an idea. The Star Drinker wasn't just collecting energy from that star last week. Its sensors picked up traces of heavy metals in the stellar material. David's eyes widened. You want to use our ships to mine stars? Why not? Linda grinned. They're already built to handle stellar matter. With some minor adjustments, we could extract metals during the energy collection process. Before David could respond, alarm lights flashed across all screens. A new message appeared. Urgent communication from Deep Space Monitoring. Put it through, David ordered. The face of Sarah Wilson, head of the Deep Space Tracking Station, appeared. Admiral, we're picking up multiple HFY ships moving through the Oort cloud. They're trying to stay hidden, but there are a lot of them. David's jaw tightened. How many? At least 30 vessels, probably more we can't see yet. They're bigger than the ones that attacked the Peace Bridge. The room fell silent. Even with the Star Drinker's powers, those weren't good odds. Linda, David said after a moment, how long until the Dawn Eater is combat ready? 3 weeks at normal speed. Maybe 10 days if we push it. Push it, Brian, saying for the Star Seeker. Brian nodded. We can do it in 2 weeks if we work round the clock. David walked to the main communication panel. This is Fleet Admiral Cooper. As of this moment, all shipyards are on Emergency Protocol Alpha. We have incoming hostiles. I want every available worker, every robot, every resource focused on completing those ships. He turned back to the screens. Linda, your idea about stellar mining. Make it happen. We'll need those resources. And get Robert Wilson on the line. I want him checking every system on these new ships personally. What about the Star Drinker? Brian asked. It'll have to hold the line until the others are ready. David stared at the tactical display, watching the red dots that marked the approaching HFY fleet. Position it near Pluto. If they want to reach Earth, they'll have to go through it first. As orders flew and people rushed to their tasks, David felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders. The Star Drinker had shown what humanity could do with just one ship. Soon, they would have a fleet of them. Send word to all colonies and outposts, he ordered. Tell them to begin gathering materials for more shipyards. The HFY think they can intimidate us with numbers. He smiled grimly. Let's show them how quickly humans can adapt. Above Mars, the half-built frame of the Dawn Eater gleamed in the sunlight. Soon, it would join its sister ship in defending humanity. And after that, more would follow. The age of humanity's steel behemoths had truly begun. Captain Rachel Wood stood on the bridge of the Stellar Forge, the newest and most powerful of humanity's star-drinking ships. 3 months had passed since the HFY's failed attack on the solar system. Now it was humanity's turn to strike back. Target fleet detected. Her sensor officer, Paul Adams, reported. 15 HFY warships, just as our intel suggested. They're hiding in the gas clouds of the nebula. Rachel nodded, her hands clasped behind her back. The enemy thought they were safe, using the nebula's interference to mask their presence. They didn't know that the Stellar Forge could sense gravity distortions from their ship's mass. "Begin the trap," she ordered. The massive ship moved slowly, its huge frame cutting through space like a whale through deep water. The Stellar Forge was 5 kilometers longer than the original Star Drinker, with improved gravity systems and stronger hull plating. "They haven't spotted us yet," Paul said, grinning. "The nebula's hiding us too." Rachel touched her command console, bringing up a 3D map of the battlefield. "Position us here, above their fleet. Prepare the gravity net." The Stellar Forge's main systems hummed to life. Giant panels opened along its sides, ready to create a web of artificial gravity that would trap the enemy fleet. "Enemy ships are moving," Paul suddenly shouted. "They've seen us." The HFY vessels burst from the nebula like startled fish, their weapons charging. But Rachel just smiled. They'd moved exactly where she wanted them. "Activate the gravity net," she ordered. "Full power." The space around the HFY fleet began to twist. The Stellar Forge's gravity manipulators created a sphere of intense gravitational force, trapping the enemy ships inside. Their engines flared as they tried to escape, but it was useless. "They're sending out distress calls," Communications Officer Mary Chen reported. "Good." Rachel walked to the front viewport. "That will bring the rest of their fleet right to us." The plan was working perfectly. After months of raids on human colonies, the HFY had grown bold. Now they would learn the price of that boldness. Second wave of enemy ships detected. Paul's voice rose with excitement. 20 more vessels coming in fast. Rachel touched her earpiece. "All hands, prepare for combat. This is what we trained for." The new HFY ships arrived in a flash of light, weapons already firing. Their energy beams splashed harmlessly against the Stellar Forge's gravity shields. "Begin the harvest sequence," Rachel ordered. The ship's massive collection arrays opened wide, but instead of pointing at a star, they aimed at the nebula itself. The gas cloud began to swirl, pulled by the ship's immense gravitational power. "Ma'am," Paul said, checking his readings twice, "the nebula's hydrogen is becoming plasma under the gravitational compression." Just like a miniature star, Rachel finished for him. "Fire the plasma stream." The collected gas, now hot as a sun's surface, shot out in a controlled beam. 3 HFY ships vanished instantly, torn apart by the artificial solar flare. The others scattered in panic. "Enemy fleet is retreating," Mary reported. "They're calling for a full withdrawal." Rachel watched the HFY ships flee, leaving their trapped companions behind. "Send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The HFY now know we can turn anything into a weapon, even the space between stars." She looked at her crew, seeing pride in their faces. The Stellar Forge had just changed space warfare forever. No longer would humanity wait to be attacked. Their steel behemoths had become hunters. "What about the trapped ships, Captain?" Paul asked. Rachel studied the helpless HFY vessels, still caught in their gravity prison. "Send them a message. Tell them humanity is willing to accept their surrender. And make sure they understand. This was just one ship. We have more coming." As her crew relayed the message, Rachel thought about how far humanity had come. The Star Drinker had been built to harvest energy. The Dawn Eater and Star Seeker were made for defense. But the Stellar Forge represented something new: humanity's determination to never be threatened again. The trapped Zixatheri ships began powering down, signaling their surrender. Above them, the Stellar Forge loomed like an ancient sea monster, ready to swallow stars and reshape space itself at its captain's command. Commander John Parker sat alone in his quarters aboard the Star Seeker, staring at the screen showing their latest mission recording. On it, he watched his ship drain a red dwarf star until it dimmed to a cold ember. The star had been dying anyway, but watching it fade still felt wrong. A knock at his door broke his dark thoughts. "Come in," he called. Emily Nash, the ship's safety engineer, entered. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't been sleeping either. "We need to talk about the containment systems," she said. "Another problem?" John asked. "No, that's what worries me." Emily sat down, running her hands through her short brown hair. "The systems are working too well. We can drain stars faster than ever. Soon we might be able to do it in hours instead of days." John turned off the screen. He couldn't watch that star die again. "You're worried about the power, about what we might do with it, aren't you?" Emily pulled out her tablet. "One ship can now destroy a star system. We have 5 ships operational, 3 more being built. That's enough power to reshape the galaxy." Before John could respond, his comm unit buzzed. "Commander Parker," a voice said, "urgent message from the Galactic Council." "Put it through." The face of an alien appeared on his screen. Ambassador Zix of the Galactic Council. Its blue crystalline features showed what John had learned was worry. "Commander Parker," the alien said, "we have received disturbing reports. Your ships have been draining stars along the border of Zixatheri space." "Only dying stars," John replied. "We're collecting fuel for our fleet. The method does not matter. The Council is concerned. Some members believe humans have gained too much power too quickly." Emily moved closer to the screen. "The containment systems have multiple safeguards. I designed them myself. Technical safety is not the issue." Ambassador Zix's crystal face sparkled with changing colors. "The issue is moral safety. Should any species have the power to drink stars?" John thought about the red dwarf they had drained, about how easy it had become. What does the Council want? Many races are calling for humans to dismantle their fleet. They fear what you might become. After the ambassador signed off, John and Emily sat in silence. Finally, Emily spoke. "They're afraid of us." "They should be." John stood and walked to his viewport. "I'm afraid of us too. Sometimes, every time I give the order to drain a star, I feel it. The power, the temptation to do more." His comm buzzed again. This time, it was Fleet Command. A new mission. Investigate a Zixatheri fleet gathering near a human colony. The Star Seeker was the closest ship. "I have to go," he told Emily. "But first, I want you to do something. Create a new safety system. Not for the ship, for the crew." Emily looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Something to help us remember who we are, what we're supposed to be." He thought for a moment. "Maybe a mandatory viewing system. Every time we power up the stellar collectors, show us images of Earth, of our colonies, of what we're protecting." Emily nodded slowly. "A moral anchor. I can do that." John headed for the bridge, his steps heavy. As he walked, he passed crew members going about their duties. Each of them carried the same weight he did, the knowledge that they controlled power that ancient humans would have called godlike. On the bridge, his tactical officer waited with news about the Zixatheri fleet. But before giving orders, John activated the ship-wide comm. "This is Commander Parker," he said. "Before we head into possible combat, I want everyone to remember something. We built these ships to help humanity grow, not to destroy. We drink stars because we must, but we're not monsters. We're explorers who learn to harvest starlight." He paused, looking at his crew. "The galaxy fears us because they don't understand us. Let's show them they're wrong. Let's show them that humanity can handle this power responsibly." The Starseeker turned toward its destination, its massive frame casting shadows on distant stars. In his mind, John echoed the words he'd just spoken, hoping they were true, hoping humanity really could handle the power they created. Because if they couldn't, the galaxy would never be the same. Chief Strategic Officer William Hayes walked into the emergency meeting room at Earth Command, his tablet showing the latest message from the Galactic Council. Around the table sat the leaders of humanity's fleet: Admiral Cooper, Captain Woods, Commander Parker, and representatives from each shipyard. "They've given us 48 hours, William said without preamble. "Either we dismantle the fleet, or they'll consider us a threat to galactic peace." Admiral Cooper leaned forward. "How many ships are they bringing?" 300 warships from 12 different species. William brought up a hologram showing the gathering alien fleet. "They're assembling at the edge of our space. The HFY sent their entire battle fleet." "They're afraid," Rachel Woods said, thinking about her recent battles. "After what the Stellar Forge did to their ships, they know they can't beat us one-on-one. So they're trying numbers." John Parker spoke up from his seat. "We only have 8 ships operational. Even with our technology, those odds are bad." William walked to the main display screen. "That's why I called this meeting. I have a plan, but you're not going to like it." He pressed a button, and a new image appeared. It showed Earth's solar system, but with strange patterns connecting the planets and major space stations. "What are we looking at?" Admiral Cooper asked. "A defensive web," William explained. "We position our ships at key points in the solar system. When they fire up their gravity systems together, they can create a network of controlled space. Nothing gets in or out without our permission." The room fell silent as everyone studied the diagram. Finally, Rachel spoke. "You want to turn our entire solar system into a fortress?" "Yes." William met their eyes one by one. "We can't match their numbers, so we change the game. Make it impossible for them to attack us without risking their own destruction." "The power requirements would be enormous," Linda Martinez said from her seat. "We'd need to harvest at least 3 stars to power a network that big." "Then we harvest them." William's voice was firm. "We show the galaxy that humanity won't be pushed around. If they want to treat us like a threat, we'll show them what a real threat looks like." John Parker stood up suddenly. "No, this isn't right. We're talking about holding the entire solar system hostage. We're talking about survival," William countered. "They're the ones threatening us." Admiral Cooper raised his hand for silence. "What about our colonies? Our ships outside the system?" "We call them home," William said. "Concentrate our forces. Once the defense web is up, we can negotiate from a position of strength." The room erupted in argument. Some supported the plan, others opposed it. William waited until they quieted down. "Look," he said, "I don't like this either, but they've left us no choice. They want us to give up the only advantage we have. If we do that, how long until they start making more demands?" Rachel Woods nodded slowly. "He's right. These HFY are part of this coalition. They tried to destroy our diplomatic ship, remember? They won't stop until they're sure we can't threaten them." "Then we show them we can," Admiral Cooper said, standing. "But we also show them we won't." He turned to William. "Start the preparations for your defense web, but add something to the plan." "What?" "A demonstration. When the alien fleet arrives, we show them exactly what our ships can do. Not to their ships, not to their stars, but to empty space itself. Let them see that if we wanted to be conquerors, we already would be." William smiled slowly, understanding. "A show of power, but with restraint." "Exactly." The Admiral looked around the room. "Humanity's steel behemoths weren't built for war. They were built to help us grow, to reach the stars. If the galaxy wants to fear us, fine. but they're going to respect us too. The meeting room's lights reflected off the hologram, casting strange shadows as the defensive web pattern rotated slowly. In 48 hours, the galaxy would learn exactly what humanity was capable of, and more importantly, what they chose not to do with that capability. William began sending orders to the fleet. The biggest gamble in human history was about to begin. Dr. Catherine Mills rushed through the corridors of the Star Seeker, clutching her data tablet like it held the secrets of the universe. In a way it did. "Commander Parker," she called out, bursting onto the bridge. "You need to see this." John Parker turned from where he was monitoring the defense web preparations. The massive alien fleet was now only 6 hours away, and every ship in humanity's fleet was moving into position. "What is it, Doctor?" he asked. Catherine's hands shook as she pulled up her data. "I've been studying the readings from our stellar harvesting operations. There's something we missed. Something incredible." On her screen, complex patterns of energy flows danced in colorful waves. "Look at what happens when we drain a star," she said. "The gravitational patterns we create don't just collect energy. They can stabilize stellar matter." John frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means," Catherine said, her eyes bright, "we can save dying stars." Before John could respond, Admiral Cooper's face appeared on the main screen. "All ships report in. The alien fleet is accelerating. They'll be here ahead of schedule." Catherine pushed forward. "Admiral, wait. You need to hear this. Our ships, they're not just weapons or power collectors. They could be the key to preserving entire star systems." The Admiral's image flickered as he leaned closer. "Explain." "Quickly." Catherine sent her data to all ships. "When a star dies, it's because it can't maintain stable fusion reactions. But our gravity manipulation technology, we could use it to restart those reactions, to rebuild failing stars from the inside out." Rachel Wood's voice cut in from the stellar forge. "She's right. Look at these equations. We've been so focused on drinking stars, we never thought about feeding them." William Hayes joined the conversation from Earth Command. "How sure are you about this?" "Let me prove it," Catherine said. "There's a dying red dwarf just outside the solar system. Give me one ship, one chance. Let me show the alien fleet what these ships can really do." Admiral Cooper was silent for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "Commander Parker, take the Star Seeker to these coordinates. The rest of the fleet will maintain the defense web. If this doesn't work, we'll need that backup plan." The Star Seeker broke formation, its massive form turning toward the dying star. On the bridge, Catherine worked with the engineering team, reprogramming the gravity collectors. "Alien fleet is responding to our movement," Paul Adams reported from his sensor station. 3 of their squadrons are breaking off to intercept us." John looked at Catherine. "Whatever you're going to do it fast." The dying red dwarf filled their view screen, its dim red light barely visible. Catherine's fingers flew across the control panel. "Activating modified collection grid," she announced. "Instead of pulling matter out, we're going to compress it, force the stellar core to restart its fusion process." The Star Seeker's massive panels opened, but this time they created a different pattern of gravitational forces. The star's surface began to ripple. "Enemy ships in range," Paul warned. "They're charging weapons." "Look," Catherine pointed at her readings. "The star's core temperature is rising. Fusion reactions are increasing." The bridge crew watched in amazement as the dim red star began to brighten. Its color shifted from dark red to orange, then to a bright, healthy yellow. "All ships, hold your fire." Admiral Cooper's voice boomed through the command channel. "Tell the alien fleet to look at what we're doing. We're not destroying the star. We're saving it." The alien ships slowed, then stopped. On all channels, surprised chatter in dozens of languages filled the airways. "Stellar regeneration complete," Catherine announced proudly. "The star is stable. It should burn for another billion years." John opened a channel to the alien fleet. "This is Commander Parker of the Star Seeker. What you just witnessed is the true purpose of our technology. We built these ships to secure humanity's future, yes, but now we can help secure the future of every species. Hours later, in the emergency meeting room at Earth Command, William Hayes read out the Galactic Council's new message. "They're withdrawing their ultimatum," he said, smiling. "Instead, they're requesting our help. Apparently, there are thousands of dying stars in populated systems. They want us to save them." Admiral Cooper looked around the room at humanity's leaders. "Well," he said, "it seems our steel behemoths have found their true calling. We went from star drinkers to star healers." Catherine nodded, already working on new calculations. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Think of what else we might discover these ships can do." The future had changed. Humanity's mighty ships would still drink stars when needed, but now they would also give life back to the galaxy. It was evolution's next step. From hunters to preservers, from warriors to healers. The stars themselves would remember this day.